Welcome to the best seats in the house, because in snow sports, all the worlds are definitely a stage, and we're in for multiple podium-worthy performances. The cast of Women's Alpine, more than 5 stars. Trust us, this show's definitely your speed. Annual flip for Jaelin Kauf and the Women's Moguls team. The entire ensemble will have your head spinning with excitement. And it's award season for Alex Ferreira and the men of free ski halfpipe. Get your speech ready, Alex, because you've pushed the envelope, and the winner is... Hello and a very warm welcome into this week's Stifel Snow Show. I'm Anna Jackson, bringing you the latest and greatest in skiing and snowboarding from around the globe. From White Circus to Snow Rodeo, these athletes are just as unforgettable as the events they compete in, and we have got so much to bring you today. So let's get straight to it. Presented by DB, let's have a look at where members of the US ski and snowboard team were recently competing. Deer Valley welcomed the world's top elite moguls and aerials athletes in Park City, Utah. Tip your hat to free ski halfpipe at the Snow Rodeo in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. In cross country, momentum equals mass time start in Falun, Sweden. Para-Alpine's energizing Maribor, Slovenia, while the 2025 Alpine World Ski Championships are electrifying Saalbach, Austria, and that is exactly where we begin. While she hasn't necessarily had it easy, but she is fast proving that, like the wind, her personal motto, you never really know which way life is going to take you. With violations and ineligibility behind her, things are heading in the right direction for the ski racer. Breezy Johnson is our Stifel Star of the Week. Add knitting to her list of talents helping to calm the 2018 Olympian. Johnson telling the Associated Press, "I'm kind of superstitious, so I have a thing where I have to have a new headband at the finish of every race." Seems there was more than superstition involved when, to her name's credit, Johnson breezed the downhill, donning start bib number 1. She set the pace, pushing hard from the start, culminating in a final time that was a full second faster than 3 previous training runs. Wearing number 1 meant Johnson watched from the finish line as the next 32 skiers tried to beat her time. None would. Johnson's win coming exactly 1 year before the women's downhill is scheduled to take place at the 2026 Olympics. Having never stood on top of a World Cup or a World Championships podium, meant for an emotional reaction.
It's crazy. I don't know. I mean, there's so many people that have helped me, and I don't know. If you would have told me that coming into this season that I was going to be world champion.
Johnson then riding that emotional wave to Team Combined, a new event at the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympic Winter Games, making its first appearance in Saalbach. First up, the discipline of downhill. How about this point of view, by the way, really capturing the speed in which Johnson assails the course? Johnson feeling the pressure, saying she wanted to do something for somebody who has been such a huge part of her career. That somebody, teammate Mikaela Shiffrin. Next up, the slalom discipline, with Shiffrin racing for the second time since returning from puncturing her oblique muscles in a November giant slalom crash. With the final standing determined by combined times, Team Johnson-Shiffrin would prevail, winning the first of this event in World Alpine Skiing Championships history. Shiffrin with a record-tying 15th career world medal and modern-era record-breaking 8th gold medal. Having skied together since age 11, Shiffrin reflected, "Feeling like we're doing it together was so cool." Well, in her decision to race the team combined, Shiffrin opted out of the giant slalom. Citing a PTSD-esque struggle, she decided to not defend her world title in the event. With a record 99 World Cup wins, Shiffrin recalled her crash in a giant slalom race on November 30th in Killington, leading to surgery and an emphasis on prioritizing physical recovery. The mental struggle remaining just slightly more than she'd anticipated. Conversely, teammate Paula Moltzan was emboldened heading into the giant slalom off her 4th place result from the mixed team parallel and also from the team combined race with Lauren Macuga a few days earlier. With fierce speed and determination evident in each turn she took on her second run and making up for a little lost time, Moltzan returned to the green at the bottom of the course to claim her first individual World Championships medal by only 1/100th of a second. The Prior Lake, Minnesota native telling NBC's Heather Cox to go 2 podiums in giant slalom back-to-back is something maybe I've been dreaming of my whole life, so to do it on a really big stage feels pretty good. Moltzan took third in the discipline last month at a World Cup in Kronplatz, taking bronze, her best individual result at a major competition. Cue a coach's tradition with a little song, dance and some jumping for joy. Now let's jump over to the men's team combined. The pairing of Ryan Cochran-Siegel and Ben Ritchie proved to be a formidable matchup. Starting with downhill, 2-time Olympian Cochran-Siegel went into 12th place, fighting fog and resulting visibility issues, leading to many race holds. The whole of it leaving teammate Ben Ritchie poised to make up time. With rally caps atop their heads, enter the cheering section of Cochran-Siegel, Bryce Bennett and Jet Seymour as supporting cast. Waitsfield, Vermont native Ritchie stepped up and delivered, sending it in the slalom, and remarkably, the US duo ultimately ending up in 4th amid 20 hundredths away from a bronze medal and the best men's performance at these Worlds. And how about this? Men's Alpine got, well, a little bit hairy in Saalbach. Team Switzerland sporting, well, brilliantly terrible hairdos in celebration of teammates Franjo von Allmann's gold and Alexis Monet's bronze in the World Championship downhill. Now, look at this. Perhaps inspired by Bozo the Clown, Swiss sensation Marco Odermatt, who clinched his first Super G World title just 2 days prior. Monet igniting the idea back in Kitzbühel. Sounds like the party continued with some pretty interesting looks, and we can confirm their helmets needed altering as a result. Very good, boys. Well, coming up, we head to Deer Valley in Utah, where 2022 Olympic silver medalist Jaelin Kauf will have us spinning into the snow stratosphere. Moguls, dual moguls and aerials bringing it home at the Intermountain Health Freestyle International, presented by Stifel. Welcome back. Well, the last time Jaelin Kauf won at Deer Valley was 7 years ago when she took the victory in moguls in 2018. With that, the 2022 Olympic silver medalist came into competition with a clear goal of winning both moguls and dual moguls. The Alta, Wyoming native, who now lives in Utah, was ready to win big on home snow, calling the crowd and course all so amazing. With 6 consecutive World Cup podiums thus far, Kauf was undeterred as she looked towards numbers 7 and 8. And the Super Bowl of freestyle skiing did not disappoint. Jaelin Kauf, launching down the champion run with her signature speed and precision, came prepared to put on a show. It would be a race to remember, as her first moguls win of the season came at home in front of an electric crowd, edging out World Cup moguls leader Perrine Lafont of France. A resounding roar of support, punctuated by a clutch hug from Mum Patty alongside family and friends who carried large signs. The Jays were flying for Jaelin. And ranked at number 1 in dual moguls, which makes its Olympic debut in 2026, Kauf once again was ready to send it for a double. The payoff was there for what was her 100th World Cup start. Another payoff going home with award designed by Kauf's boyfriend, retired Olympian Brad Wilson, a wooden ski given to all podium finishers. Kauf sharing, "I have a huge mob down here supporting me. They're the ones that make all of this happen for me. It's so special." Well, let's move over to aerials, where the Stifel U.S. freestyle ski team men would put down impressive jumps despite challenging weather. Quinn Dehlinger put down the hardest trick of the day, a variation on the quad-twisting triple backflip, aka the Daddy. Dehlinger, a 2-time World Championships medalist, returning from a knee injury, didn't let the conditions hold him back from throwing a triple, saying, "Once I sent, all the boys followed me up." That includes teammate and 2022 Olympic gold medalist Chris Lillis, who also put down a daddy. Ultimately, a bobble on the landing placed Lillis in third, while Dehlinger landed atop the podium, his first win in 3 years, saying it's always been a dream to win here at Deer Valley, so to win here is something special. And you might remember our profile of 2022 Beijing Olympian Olivia Giacchio, a recent Columbia University grad. Giacchio took third in dual moguls at Deer Valley, her first podium in the discipline this season. She has 4 podiums in individual moguls. While she's climbing to the top of skiing greatness, she's also climbing the walls. That's in training, by the way. Check out our Stifel Spotlight.
Over the past few years, I've been enjoying developing new hobbies a lot more than I have in the past. Climbing specifically is something that I'm not great at. I do really enjoy improving and getting better and pushing myself. I think it's fun to kind of be a beginner at a sport again, and I think that's a really fun way to incorporate nuance and variability into my workouts, whether I use that as a warm-up or a different session altogether. At this point in my career, I'm trying to make things as interesting as possible by making it still fun in ways that I can.
Well, stay with us. We have got this guy coming up after the break. Put out your best table settings if you're having him over for dinner. He's bringing the crystal. It is Alex Ferreira joining us right after the break.
I think about the Olympic gold medal every single day. I think about it as soon as I wake up in the morning, and it's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep.
Alex Ferreira out of Aspen, Colorado. This guy is so fun to watch. The #1 skier on the World Cup circuit.
Alex Ferreira, the man to beat in all of men's free ski halfpipe.
I'm incredibly proud of my results at the last 3 Olympics. I've been consistent.
1, 2, 3, wow! Nick Gepper throws it down into silver medal position.
There's one other notch in my belt that I've got to tick off, and that's being on top of the Olympic podium.
Why not unretire and have a crack at the halfpipe?
What makes the Olympics special is it's the world stage. I mean, you carry that Olympic gold medal the rest of your life. So that's definitely the goal.
When I win in Milan Cortina, I'm just going to be thinking about all my supporters along the way.
I've thought about how I would feel when I'm at the top of the podium at the Olympics, and it's intense. It's hard to even put into words how much it would mean, but when it happens, it will be glorious.
They're all just dreaming of gold. Well, Hover Air, the official flying action camera of US ski and snowboard, giving us a look at the men's free ski World Cup standings, where the US dominates the top 10. The #1 spot reserved for Aspen, Colorado's Alex Ferreira, with Lawrenceburg, Indiana teammate Nick Gepper occupying the second. 2 dynamic legends battling it out while simultaneously bringing out the best in competition, heading towards Milan Cortina. Well, we always love having legendary halfpipe skier and 2-time Olympian Alex Ferreira with us. Alex, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciate your time. First up, congratulations that you are joining us fresh off your Crystal Globe win. What are your thoughts coming off this season?
Anna, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And my thoughts coming off this season are absolutely ecstatic. I can't believe that it happened again. Another Crystal Globe back-to-back. Now I have 4, and I never would have dreamed of that as a kid. So I'm very, very happy about how things are going, and it's nice to see all of my hard work paying off and unfolding in front of my eyes.
Yeah, it really doesn't get much more special than that. Well, Alex, we are, of course, as you well know, 1 year out now from the Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games. What is your mindset as we build into this final year countdown?
Yeah, I believe today's February 20th. I believe we're actually 1 year to the day, 7:30 at night tonight in a year. And I'm feeling excited, obviously nervous. It's going to be very, very high-level competition, but I believe in myself, I believe in the training, and I am going to do everything in my power to win that Olympic gold medal. It's the first thing I think about in the morning, and it's the last thing I think about before I go to sleep. My emotions are like a roller coaster, always fluctuating, but I just try and stick to the training. I try and tell myself that everything is going to be okay. And sometimes the nerves do come and they eat me alive, and that's a part of it as well. I'm human, just like anybody else. But when push comes to shove and the rubber meets the road, I will show up on that evening and I will do great.
Yeah, so much of it, as you say, is between the ears. While you're in such a good spot right now, your team's been bringing their best this season. Just talk to us a little bit about how being teammates and competitors, like we're seeing with you and Nick Gepper right now, for example, just elevates the sport all round.
Absolutely. You know, Nick came over from slopestyle. We were friends before he moved to halfpipe. And now that he is in halfpipe and he's doing really well, the camaraderie is high. He called me a couple weeks ago and he said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm a huge supporter. And I was blown away by that call. So I highly respect him. He highly respects me. And the camaraderie is extremely high. And honestly, he's pushing me to do better. And I told him, actually, he said on the call, I'm going to push you. And I said, I'm going to pull you. So it's good energy.
Yeah, well, speaking of being a big fan, all of us here at the Stifel Snow Show are big fans of a certain Hot Dog Hans, the old 85-year-old washed-up Olympian. I'm going to say he's your alter ego. Just tell me about this fascinating individual.
Yeah, Hot Dog Hans is essentially, I dress up as an old man and I mess with people on the ski slopes. We have a really great time. We've also gotten some ruffled feathers, no question. We definitely find the line. We have a lot of fun. We are, I guess, I'm an actor a little bit.
What's the most trouble Hot Dog Hans has ever got himself into?
Ooh, Hansi, the problem is he starts drinking, and that's always bad. He pushed some guy's poles over, and this one individual was not very happy, and he came chasing after me and actually hit me with his pole.
Let's look at the off-season, because I know you have quite an interesting little routine. You do some cross-training, rollerblades, hockey drills, ice skates, cross-country skis. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just figured I'm always training, and it's really hard to do the same thing every day. The monotonous part about it is really tough. So I decided I'm going to try everything and incorporate it all into the training so that it keeps it fun, it keeps it exciting, it keeps it new. And the cross-training and the off-season training is definitely the most important part of the season for me. I'm working out 6 months in advance to see the results, you know, later in February, the following year. Like, I'm not getting paid today, I'm going to get paid soon.
That's right. Well, Alex, you've clearly got so much energy and such a passion for the games. You can see the Winter Games behind you, Lake Placid, is that?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Love it. You are ready. We are ready, Alex. Thank you so much for your time.
Anna, thank you kindly. Thank you so much for having me, and all the best.
Alrighty, well, stay with us as we head to Falun, Sweden for cross-country action after the break.
As the roars rattle around Pyeongchang, Sweden, the U.S. and Norway come into the line.
Here comes Diggins! Here comes Diggins!
Diggins making the play around Sweden.
Yes!
Jessie Diggins
Yes!
to the line.
Yes!
It is Jessie Diggins
Gold!
delivering a landmark moment that will be etched in U.S. Olympic history. The first ever cross-country gold medal.
That moment will never get old. Well, now with the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics just under a year away, the incredible Italian locations that will play host to the highly anticipated winter sports we've covered here on the Stifel Snow Show, including picturesque Val di Fiemme, which will feature both cross-country and ski jumping. But for now, it is World Cup action in Sweden, where the cross-country athletes tested themselves one last time before World Championships. And what more can we say about the great Jessie Diggins? Well, plenty, having just completed her first classic distance race back after battling a foot injury of plantar fasciitis and a partial rupture of the fascia. Diggins placed fourth in the 10-kilometre classic interval start in Falun, Sweden. And next up, the dominant cross-country skier would wow again, this time commanding the 20-kilometre skate mass start. Her yellow bib signifying her lead in the overall standing. The rigorous Falun track put the women to the test, but it was the last lap where Diggins would make a move despite a tangled pole almost prompting a fall. Leading as the competitors all rounded into the stadium, Diggins pushed over the top of the final hill to successfully position herself for the straightaway to the finish. Crossing the line exhilarated yet exhausted, Diggins took first, her 28th World Cup win and 78th podium in only 353 starts. This prompting the ceremonial pinning of a blue star on the wax truck ceiling with a look toward the highly anticipated World Championships in Trondheim. Well, let's head over to the same discipline on the men's side. Anchorage, Alaska's Gus Schumacher pushed the pace confidently throughout, but with the stakes high into the final lap, his signature no-pole skate put himself right behind Paul Goldberg of Norway, ultimately securing second across the finish and his second career podium. Schumacher took home his first World Cup win in the 10-kilometre interval start-free almost a year ago in Minneapolis. This win marking the first time an American man has ever podiumed in the 20-kilometre race. Well, now to para-alpine in Maribor, Slovenia, and this standing giant slalom run for Audrey Crowley. Her World Championship debut race netting her a bronze medal. The 17-year-old has impressively raced both able-bodied and adaptive races across the country and has won 5 U.S. Para-National Championship titles, including 2 in giant slalom. She is certainly one to watch. Crowley counts Lindsey Vonn and Mikaela Shiffrin as strong female role models. Well, apparently giving the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders a run for their money is goals for the women's moguls athletes of Stifel U.S. Freestyle Ski Team. And if you ask us, they are absolutely nailing it. Oh, and in ski boots, by the way, the squad was giving fire on snow and the Deer Valley crowds were fanning the flames. Honestly, just take a moment to appreciate the dance talent right here, because the Cowboy cheerleaders did exactly that on socials. And just like them, we are obsessed. Well, that is it for this week's edition of the Stifel Snow Show. Always our pleasure to have you join us. I look forward to seeing you again for our next episode, which is on March the 1st, 2:30 Eastern on CNBC. A little reflective moment here on some podiums that are giving us all life this 2024-25 season. I'm Anna Jackson, and we will see you next time.